Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to well, what can I say? It's been a while since I've made a tank review. Thank God I'm back to making tank reviews because I honestly have ran out of ideas of what to talk about. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of issues to talk about in Blitz. Plenty. But I think it's time to talk about certain tanks that really do deserve to be spoken about. And I think there's tanks that I would highly recommend that people play. And this is one of them, the T100 LT. Boy, oh boy, was this thing absolutely cracked when it first released in game. And guess what? It still is very, very good. This is one of the best, if not the best light tank in World of Tanks Blitz. Now, some may argue that the WZ-132 and 1, the T10 Chinese light tank, is probably better than this tank. I beg to disagree with that. Don't get me wrong, it is a fantastic tank. In fact, it's basically a Type 62 at T10. But this is better, because this is basically a pancake of a tank. It's so hard to hit, and it's so much fun to play. It's one of my favorite tanks in the game, and for good reason too. It's a great light tank, and its greatness is seen by the fact that it is used in tournaments and in comp. That's right, there are some people that use this tank in comp, which goes to show you just how much of an impact this beautiful looking tank can make in the game. Now, this tank has some very special mechanisms indeed. One of them being tracer shells. Now, for those of you who don't know what tracer shells, this is the boring part, by the way, but in case you don't know what tracer shells are, essentially what happens is when you spot a tank, or you're spotted, you have about 10 seconds before you're able to reset your camo when you're out of view. With tracer shells, you can fire at a tank, any tank, even if you don't pen it, even if it bounces, right? You will keep that tank spotted for an extra 10 seconds. So, in other words, it'll be spotted for 20 seconds, unless it's a specific light tank that has these mechanisms as well. It's pretty crazy. It's a pretty cooked mechanism, especially when you're in a brawling situation. And it's great for assisted damage. This is a great tank to get basically assisted damage. And then you also have concealment on movement, which means that it does not decrease. Your concealment doesn't decrease while you're moving, but it isn't ineffective when you're shooting. So basically, you have the same amount of camera rating that you would if you were stationary while you're moving, but not while you're shooting. So these two make this tank just a bit better than some of the other medium tanks or other light tanks at T10. Now, in terms of the armor, it's got 120 on the front of the turret. You can bounce a couple shots. It can be a bit troll. Your hull is only 65 mils, but again, it's very well angled and it's very flat, which means you can get under the guns of a lot of big dog heavy tanks and they won't be able to pen you. So it's actually really good. And you can see, in terms of concealment, you've got 59% while stationary and 59% while moving. In terms of the gun, I'm going to go through these really quickly. Your gun is a 100mm gun. It's got a 2.8 second aim time. Again, I'm running this with gun lane drive, as you'll see with my equipments. And the good thing about this gun is that it runs standard and premium AP rounds, which is fantastic, which means you won't lose penetration when you fire, the longer the distance is. You have a .277 dispersion, so again, gun handling and accuracy on this tank, amazing, especially when you're running this with all 9 equipment slots. 3,261 DPM. I'm running this thing with calibrated shells. You can run it with gun rammer. It's completely up to you. I personally run it with calibrated shells. 5.7 second is your reload. 254 mils of AP pen, 308 on your AP, on your premium AP, and that's the reason why, because I want that extra bit of penetration. And it's 54 on your AG. You're doing 310 alpha per shot, 420 on your AG, but you only have 5 degrees of gun depression. But it's not a big deal breaker because this tank is so low to the ground. Now, in terms of your mobility is very nice. 68 kilometers per hour is your top speed, 47 is your average speed limit, and you got 25 in terms of reverse. It's very nice indeed. Now, if I were to run this thing with gun rammer, you get 3,433 damage per minute, which is very nice. But I mean, it's already 3.2k. Just run this with calibrated shells, because trust me, it's so much better. Now, I obviously run this thing with optics. Now, you can technically run this thing with camo net, but I prefer to run with optics because it's just so much better. But yeah, anyway, regardless of it, I do run this with the enhanced armor because there's literally no point in running this with the improved assembly. And yeah, refined gun for sure to give you that extra bit of gun handling. So let's see a battle that a good friend of mine has done in this thing, just to showcase just all of its strengths and its weaknesses to some extent. All right, here we go. Alrighty, we're watching my good friend GrandMcLegend from the Grum clan playing in his T100 LT on everyone's favourite map, Castilla. Castilla is honestly a map that is just... I don't like it. But for a tank like this, it's absolutely perfect. Trust me when I say it is perfect. Okay, interestingly enough, he is actually going towards... well, actually, I thought he was going towards the heavy side. In fact, he's going up in this area here because he can, and it looks like he's going to make his way across the bridge in that fashion. It's a good, interesting way to do so. Now, interestingly enough, he is going to try and spot heavy tanks that are coming towards this area here. Interesting enough, there is an Object 268 right there who gets absolutely deleted. Fair enough. He is spotted, but he's in a good position because there is no tank destroyers in that area there that can actually hit him, because a lot of them would be in camping in that spot there. So you can see it's a perfectly good area to be in. The Object 268 made the really poor decision of being in that bush there. I love how GrandMcLegend basically just says English. Because they're all, yeah, F you. Okay, this is pretty funny that the grill is basically saying these things right now. Okay, so I realized that there wasn't any audio. Yeah, that was my mistake, so I'm going to just skip ahead slightly. Just ever so slightly. Okay, so after GrandMcLegend says to the guys English, the grill just basically just says F you. That's great. GrandMcLegend's just like, okay. Yeah, that's such a typical Grand way to say it. And then the WZ is just like, idiot. Yeah, these guys are great. These guys are great. Humanity's just like, who? T100. Yeah, these two idiots are just, yeah, wow. Look at this, 40%er. 2k assist. Wow. So this is more not only just a showcase of this tank's abilities. Useless shit. Wow. Wow. It's like, enjoy World of Dummies. World of Dummies, interesting. There's a T-57 Heavy there who, unfortunately, he misses that shot on him. Yeah, but he does get spotted again. Does he get a shot? Yep, he does. 304 alpha damage right there. Beautiful shot into the side of the turret. This is going to be as much of... no skill. Yeah, this is going to be as much of a showcase of this tank's abilities as it is going to be about these two Muppets absolutely just talking the most shit I've ever seen in a regular battle. Yeah. He keeps hitting him with the OK. Oh my god. The thing about this tank is it's great at spotting. By the way, that grill... sorry, the T110E3 missed him. Oh, that was so lucky. I don't know what he was doing there. You're not going to pen him, bro. You're not going to pen him. He was very lucky that the T110E3 missed him, because I guarantee he was probably shooting him with HE for sure. Let's pause this for a second. This position that GrandMcLegend is in is actually a very interesting position indeed, because it actually provides him with various advantages in the sense. Not only is he able to spot the enemy heavy tanks, but also the tank destroyers, and he's safe from any fire from the hill over there, from anyone who may be camping on the hill. There's an IS-4 that is coming up to him. Maybe it's a good idea to possibly get the hell away from there. Interesting enough, he does not get shot. He's going to go for that IS-4 once again. The T110E3 is not facing him, but he needs to be careful of the grill, because I guarantee you the grill's on the end, the hill over there. He's probably going to get shot by the grill, but let's have a look. He's up to 2,400 damage. Nice shot into the side of the T110E3. Great work there, using the rocks as the hard cover, and obviously making sure the T110E3 does not manage to hit him. Is he going to switch to the Pramo? No, he's not. He gets a nice kill on the IS-4. Oh, very lucky there. he very smart there, hitting the tracks of the T110E3. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Gets the side of the tank right there, 323 alpha damage. The guy is on basically 2 shots right here. Can he shoot him with HE? He should have switched to the HE and probably been able to kill him with 1 shot, but there you go. Bob's your uncle. The IS-7 does end up killing the T110E3. Now, it's a 5 against 3 situation. The 2 Muppets at the end. There he is. He's basically said, yes, I'm an idiot, or I'm a fag, or whatever you want to call it. Great to see that Grand is basically saying, up yours, you cunts. Excuse my language there. There is the grill. He's going to get a nice shot into him. Switch to the HE. He's got Spore Liner. I would just probably stick with shooting him with AP in this sense. Is the grill going to hit him? Yes, he is, but he can afford to take the damage. He's going to reload before he does. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Bye-bye. Adios, amigo. There we go. He is on 3 kills, 4,622 damage. Interesting enough, the grill on his team has basically stopped talking. Beautiful shot there on the move. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that shot. That just shows how accurate this gun can be, even on the move. Very, very nice indeed. Now, there is only the Rhinocerente. He gets up to 5,000 damage, gets a shot from the Rhino. He's got to be very careful here. Beautiful last shot there. Fantastic work there, amigo. Great work. Thank you very much for sending this one in. It's a good showcase of what you can do when you use this tank to its full advantage. Oh, and it's a ratings battle. Okay, that makes perfect sense as to why the idiots on the team were just talking mad shit. Yeah, they're just used to that, I guess. They are definitely used to that. Let's have a look at the medals. Ace Mastery, High Caliber. Of course, he gets the Radley Walters medal. He gets the Patrol Duty, which is quite nice. Of course, he gets the Scout medal because, you know, why not? It's exactly what he did in the battle. 5,255 damage, 5 destroyed, 3,729 assisted damage, which is just amazing. So yeah, great work there. Now, those 2 idiots that were talking shit on his team, the Grill, did 684 damage. Not surprising there. And of course, Mr. Maguka in the WZ-132-1 only did 1,038 damage. Yeah, goes to show you just what happens when you're an absolute stooge of a player and you're talking mad crap in a game and you do absolutely nothing. That's great. It just shows you what kind of a player you are. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the T110, the T100 LT, I should probably say. Beautiful light tank, amazing tank. A tank I would definitely recommend you play if you love light tanks, because trust me, you're going to fall in love with it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves, look after your friends and family. Peace in the Middle East and everywhere else in this world, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.